This is dealing with QuadLugs, and we're building the frame, the box quad frame. Of course, stickers, the adjustment arms, there's 4 of them. And we're going to get started with this first. We have a little prep work to do. We have a few holes to drill. One of them is going to be with an 1/8 inch bit. And first of all, too, I guess, is these are the items we'll need today. Number 1, Phillips screwdriver, 1/8 inch bit, 1/16 inch bit, drill motor, and I'm using a smaller one. You can use the bigger one. Smaller one's easier to handle. And of course a driver. But I normally put most of the screws in with my screwdriver. But that's your choice. So let's get started. Looks like that's all we're going to need today to put the frame together. First hole we're going to prep, 1/8 inch hole, or 1/8 inch bit rather. And we're going to place it in like that. We hold the adjustment head down and we'll drill through this area. When we do that, we're making the hole in this area right here, this place right here. And that's going to allow the screw to extend all the way through. This is where the nut's going to be placed in a little bit. Okay, so this one's done. What I do on drilling these holes is I'll place them like this, and I'll do the same with the others. And then I drill the holes for the legs or the landing gear there. And that way when we install these, they'll all be facing out or they'll be facing in depending on the way you install them. Again, using the 1/8 inch bit, we're going to go up about 3/8 of an inch and in the center here. Okay, so we'll do this one. And again, this is for our landing gear. So we're about center here, and we're about 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 inch up here. And we'll drill that. Again, this is an 1/8 inch bit. We don't drill them all the way through. We'll just drill in through here. Super easy. The other hole is a 1/16 inch bit. And we're actually going to drill through this hole, and we'll be drilling this side out here. Just like that. So try to keep it straight this way and this way as best you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. And we'll drill that through. Okay, we have all of them drilled now. We're going to do that on the others. Now that we have these drilled, we're going to use our small bit to get out all the residue. Okay? If there's any residue in when you go to put the screw in, it's going to be really tough. And in the other box here, we have different colors to choose from: red, white, purple, yellow, and clear. Here I'm building it in clear. But in this box we have the screws to install the ESC and the controller. We have the screw to secure the lid. Zip ties, Velcro, and sticky pads. We have our motor mounts. Kind of hard to see, they're clear. We have our feet for our landing gear. This is 1/4 by 1/2. This is our crossover wood. And this is all 1/2 by 1/2. 2 pieces 5 1/4 inch long, and that's for the sides of the body. 4 pieces 5 inches long, and that's our arms, our motor arms. 4 pieces 3 inches long, and that's for our landing gear. All the wood is in basswood. If you break any of the wood, you can get it from us. You can get it from your local hobby shop, or you can also get it from Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And they normally carry the basswood, and just make sure it's basswood. And again, 1/2 by 1/2, 1/4 by 1/2. It normally comes in 24-inch lengths. So 2 pieces, pretty much rebuild your quad 1.5 to 2 times. And it's very inexpensive. So if you have any problem, you know where to get it. The boxes hold up really good, and you'll have an extra one. When you build, you'll have one left over as an extra. The colored parts are ABS, injection molded, and we don't really have a problem with them breaking. Anything's breakable, but it doesn't happen very often. All of the black parts that we have are glass filled, or glass reinforced nylon, and they're extremely tough. So about the only place you'll have a problem with breakage is going to be in the wood, and it's easy to locate, inexpensive to buy, and very easy to change. Okay, let's move on. We have our choice of building either box. I'm going to build the one with our logo. We're going to start with the crossover wood first. And we did all of our prepping on our arms. Let me put this aside. And this is what how we're going to install the crossover wood. We're going to put a piece in one side. Some of them fit, go in really easy. Some of them you have to push to get them to slide in. But, one thing to remember is that anytime we're putting, installing the wood into one of the pieces, to make sure it's all the way in. So we're doing that. You can put some good pressure on it. It's not going to bother it. I've even used a hammer on it to put it in a few times just to see, and no problem at all. But don't recommend it, but you can if you need to. Anyway, it's all the way in. And I'm choosing on mine to put all the screws on the outside, in the back, and in the front. So that's how I'm going to do this. And this one, the screw is going to go this way, facing that way. Okay, so I'm going to do that. All of the wood, when we drill pilot holes, and that's what we're going to do now, we use 1/16 inch bit, 16th inch bit for that. So we're going to make sure the wood's all the way in, and we're going to drill a pilot hole. Doesn't have to go all the way through. If you do, no problem. Just make sure if you're drilling, on a table or something, have some protection. You don't want to ruin a table, that's for sure. Okay. And here we're using 3/8 long screws that's going to go into here. And all these screws were packed in with the arms, or with the adjustment arms. So let's go ahead and get this in. Okay, we're going to go ahead and install the arm. We'll slide it through. We want to make sure that it's in, and we'll push it in. And there you see it, and you can just push here to make sure it's, fitting well. We're going to get the other arm, or the other adjustment arm. You'll notice the screw on this side. We want it on this same side. And put it on and we'll push it in. And we'll get our 1/16 inch bit. And we're going to drill through the wood. And just a little bit, just to keep it from splitting. And again, we'll use our 3/8 long screw. And we're going to install it. And there you are. We're going to go ahead and put the other one in. And again, remembering these are on the outside and we want them again on the outside. Let's go ahead and put it through, push it in, and again the screw is going to be on the outside. Okay, we push it in, push it all the way in. We want to make sure of that. And once again, we'll use our 1/16 inch bit and we're going to drill that. Okay. And we'll take our 3/8 screw again and we'll secure that side. Okay, and we'll just push this back and make sure it looks nice, and that's what it looks like. So you have a screw here, 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 and here, and that locks the pieces together sideways. And the next thing we want to make sure is that this gap here and here are about the same, and then once again the gap here and here are about the same. If one's tighter than the other, you can just, gently push it back and forth like that till it's in the center. Okay? We're ready to put our side pieces on. So we're going to take our 5 1/4 inch pieces and we're going to slide them in. Again, remembering that some of these pieces go in really easy and some of them are a little bit tighter. If they're tighter, it's going to take some, effort to get it put in, but they'll slide in. And you want them to be flush here and here, the outside to be flush. And if you need to adjust it this way, you can. And we'll do the same thing here. We'll line it up. And again, we'll make sure there's smooth there and there. If you need to, we can pull them apart just to make sure. Okay, so we're in good shape. Another way to do this is put this wood on these two pieces before you slide it in. So if this wood is tight in these pieces, you can put these on first and then slide these two pieces and the wood in at one time into your cross members. You can do it that way too. Okay? The 5 inch pieces. These are 5 inches long and they're going to go into the adjustment head. And if you notice, some of them are a little bit loose this way. Turn it around, push it in, you'll see this is a lot tighter. And make sure this is pushed in all the way, all the way, all the way. You can do this for all of them. Make sure they're again all the way. Again, all the way. All the way. Okay? We're ready to install our adjustment arms. You want to make sure that this is flush on both sides, because when you drill this part out, it's going to drill through this wood and this wood, So you're not going to be able to move it anymore, you know, once the screw goes in. So just make sure they're flush on either side, this side and that side. Put your top piece, adjustment head on top, hold it down with your fingers. Use your 1/8 inch bit. You don't want to put too much pressure on it. It'll find its way through. Just put a little bit of pressure. It'll find its way through the first one. And now the second piece of wood. And you're through. The screws that come with the arm, or arms, are these. And you'll get, after it's all installed, you'll have extra screws with extra washers and nuts, and you want to keep those just in case one of them gets stripped out for some reason. You'll always have 4 extras. If you ever need any of these though, we have those. So we get a washer, put it on the screw. And we have the nut. This is a lock nut. And if you'll notice, one side is flat, the other side has a nylon insert. You want the nylon insert sticking up. And that's a lock nut. When you put it in the receptor, it fits in. I would hold it with my finger. And then we'll put adjustment head on top. We'll start it. Once it's started, you can release the nut. These adjustment arms move in 15-degree increments, and we want it at 45 degrees. So we have it out, and we go 15, 30, 45. If you have it this way, 15, 30, 45. Let's go ahead and screw it down. We're going to tighten it up really good after a while, but we're going to tighten it down to hold it in place now. Okay. We'll do the other side again. Make sure that it's flush here and here. Again, once this screw is put in, it locks this piece of wood in. We'll make sure it's all the way in. Place it on top, push down on it. Again, use the 1/8 inch bit. Not very much pressure is needed, and it'll guide its way through. Once again, we'll use the 1/16 inch bit to clean out the residue. We'll turn it over and we'll do the same. Okay. And we'll get our washer. Take one of the nuts and we'll install it into the receptor. We'll hold it in place. Again, we'll get the screw started and it'll hold itself in place, and then we'll 15, 30, 45. Again, we'll finish tightening this up after a while. Now we'll go ahead and finish up these two. Okay. Let's see. We have those all on. Now the next thing we're going to do is prep our landing gear. And once again, put them in the orientation we would be installing them. You'll notice that we have a hole in one side of all of them. So if we want the screw holes to be, on the same side, we'll have to drill one hole in each one. Easy to do. Use the 1/8 inch bit. You may not be able to see it on this, but when you have it in hand, there's a round, little slight depression right here, and I guess they use it to push these parts out of the mold. If you put your bit right in the center of this round depression, it'll put it in a perfect spot for you. And again, we're going to drill it just through one side. And we're going to do the same thing here. So by doing this, we'll have the screws again on one side. These are the 3-inch long landing gear, and once again we're going to push them all the way down. And some of them, like I said, are a little bit tighter than others, so you may have to give it a little help. We'll do the same thing here. Make sure they're all the way in. Okay. Again, we're drilling a pilot hole in the wood, so we're going to use the 1/16 inch bit. You don't have to go all the way through. And now we'll use our 5/8 long screws, and we'll get these installed. And I normally finish them off by hand. Okay. Now we're ready to install these. And again, we have the screws facing out, and we'll make sure like this. Okay, they're facing out. Let's go ahead and get our 1/8 inch bit, our 1/16 inch bit once again, 1/16 inch. Again, we're drilling in to the wood as a pilot hole. .5/8 long screws to install these. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Once again, they're installed, and we'll finish them off by hand. Done. Done. Okay, now we're ready to install our motor mounts. We're going to go ahead and prep those. And we're almost done. 1/8 inch hole again. Or 1/8 inch bit. Again, if you're looking at it in hand, there's a round indentation, and again, that's where the parts are pushed out of the mold. Go right in the middle of this round indentation, and that'll put you right in the center. Again, just drilling through the outside here. You can put it into the side. Normally I put it in the bottom. Makes it a little bit, I think it turns out better that way. But you can put them in the side if you choose to. Okay, do the same thing with all of these. Okay, these are all drilled out. So let's go ahead and turn this over. These are going to be installed like this. Your motor is going to be installed here. So that's how they're going to be put on. But I'm going to turn it over. It's a little bit easier. So we'll put it on, and let's put it flush with the end here. The wood is flush with the end of the piece. Once again, same old routine. 16th inch bit. Pilot hole. And we're going to use, once again, the 5/8 long screws. And we'll just double check with the screwdriver. And it's installed. We're going to do that on all the rest of them. Okay. Done. We're going to install the screw and the nut on it so it will secure our lid. I have the hot glue gun going right now, or heating up, and I'm going to put this in. I keep out of your way with it. And let's do it this way. Okay. And it's to hold the nut in place. So let me grab the hot glue. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fasten it on the nut on this way. Now if you happen to store this in your car, you know, and it's a hot area, you know, you could have a problem with this. I have before myself. So, you know, I would steer away from doing that. If you're going to be storing it, you think, in a real hot area, I would not put hot glue to hold this nut on. I'd put something like, you know, CA or epoxy. Okay. So let's let this dry. While this is drying, let's go ahead and do a recap. Get all the strings out. We put our cross members here, and we have all of our screws in, and they're tightened up. We have our arms put on, our adjustment arms put on, and we have all the screws in here for our landing gear. Okay, we've adjusted these to 45 degrees, and while this is finishing up to dry, we're going to go around and tighten these up really good. Now you're going to have to push down on it pretty good and just keep tightening it up and keep pressure on it so it doesn't strip out the screw. And when you tighten it up really good like this, it'll make this really tight and kind of finishes the job off. But you can see how much I'm tightening it up still. Just, you know, push down on the screwdriver. Don't put your hands underneath there, because if it slips off, you're going to be in trouble. But just push down on the screwdriver really good and tighten it up till it doesn't go anymore. And there you go. That's doing good. And we'll do the same thing on the last one. Okay, so these were the 5 1/4 inch pieces. Again, They're smooth on each side or flush, flush, flush. These are the 5-inch pieces, 3-inch pieces. And your frame is built. I think it's pretty dry. Now, one thing you can do with this also is trim the screw. It's pretty long. I normally cut these down with a pair of bolt cutters, or wire cutters rather, and I'll cut it off. You know, you can do what you want, but I normally cut, you know, about this much off. You can leave it this length, it doesn't hurt anything, but I'll show you. It's about how much I cut off. Okay, and it works real well. There you go. So your frame is completed. You're ready for motors. Again, motor mounts are on, everything's screwed in, they're tightened down very well. Your screws installed here for your lid. All the screws are in. You're in good shape. Let's get some motors on. See you next time.